about 60 years ago, before the changes of the Second Vatican Council, today's gospel, and I just shared with you from the first lines of John's gospel, that gospel was read at every Sunday Mass. Every Sunday Mass, the priest read it right before the dismissal. Does anybody remember that? So it used to be called the last gospel, because before the final dismissal, that's what people listened to every week. And it was a reminder that Jesus, who is divine, took on our human nature and lived among us. That was intended to be the gospel, the good news that people carried with them when they left the church that day at the beginning of a new week. Maybe we should go back to doing that. We all need to be reminded this day and age, in the midst of a violent and broken world, that Christ is present. In fact, Christ has been present throughout all eternity. That's the point of that gospel. There was never a time when Christ was not. He is eternal with God. And out of love for us, Christ took on human flesh and was born into our world and given the name Jesus. We've just celebrated that event about a week ago. The fact that Christ is always present among us is intended to be good news for us. And as I said, our world is very troubled. Just read the events, listen about the events of these past few days. Shootings in places of worship, the rise of anti-Jewish sentiment, wars in various parts of the world, the threat of terrorism in many places. Increasingly, it seems that our world is being threatened by the forces of darkness and evil. But there is hope, because hope continues with the presence of Christ. If we truly believe that Christ was raised from the dead, that he is among us in the Eucharist, that he is present in the goodness and the love and the faith of others, then we need not be afraid. Too often, we give in to the temptation to be fearful, when instead we are called to be courageous and confident. Too many people focus on the presence of evil in our world, and not enough on the presence of Christ, who is stronger than evil. So I was thinking how appropriate that this gospel is given to us on the last day of the year. We enter a new decade tomorrow. And, we can always hope that our world may become more peaceful and more loving and more faithful. But even if that doesn't happen, we know that there is a kingdom which Jesus has established, which will make its appearance someday with power and glory. All evil will be conquered, violence will be vanquished, and peace and joy will reign over all people. So let's move into this new year with the same hope that prompted St. John to proclaim that the true light has indeed come into the world.